Leafs talk, JD Bunkis, Sam McKee. A perfect game for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They drop 2 points to the lowly New York Rangers, and Easton Cowan plays well. Honestly, this is the template for my happiness for the rest of the season, buddy. I'll be more than pleased to come on here if this is the result the rest of the way.
Yeah. Desired result, no question. Desired result. But boy, this process is tough.
Well, it's tough because we have to watch it. Like although let's be real. Like I was checking in on the team. Like once the game was 5, like they go up 3 goals. I was like, welcome to the secondary screen. Back to Raptors. It's just float around. Look at the phone. It's not a deep dive here. Like listen, I think people should embrace this, okay? Because they got something to play for in the reverse standings. Is it ugly? Absolutely. Are there very few things that you can cheer for? No question about it. But as of this very moment, the Leafs entered tonight's game in the 12 hole when it comes to lottery odds. And some of that is like games in hand, whatever. It's very tight. It's very tight in the standings to get into that bottom 10. And the lottery odds shift dramatically if you can get into that 10 hole and lower. And I'm looking around the league. I'm scoreboard watching. The Florida Panthers lost again. I hate it. The Flyers lost. I saw the Predators were winning. I'm like, good. The Predators winning is a good thing. Dropping one to the Rangers, I'm telling you, this is the happiest that I've been since the break. They needed this loss, and they got this loss. I'm just embracing it. Like, it's all I've got is the faint hope that the Toronto Maple Leafs end up with a top 5 pick. And how much would that just change the optimism of things going into next year? Having Easton Cowan, who is buzzing tonight, and a top 5 pick that you could actually pin your hopes on. It's all I got, brother. Like, what am I supposed to say? Like the Leafs are checked out? They are. They absolutely are. And I want them to be checked out. Stay checked out. Stay losing hockey games. Lose every single one from here on out and get into that bottom 10 and let me watch that draft lottery night with a hope and a prayer.
You know what? You might get your wish.
I think I am going to get my wish.
There is 20 game losing streak potential here. Like, what? I think that we have 2 regulation wins in their last 19 games played. They've sandwiched 2 6-game losing streaks in a 15 game span, right?
Yeah, something like that.
No, because they lost 6 in a row before they went on the road, right?
Yeah.
Before they won those 3 fake games on the road.
Yeah.
And now they've lost 6 in a row again. I mean, that is a remarkable achievement to lose 6 in a row twice in a 15 game period. That is as good as it gets. And yeah, you're right. Everything you're saying is right. And I guess you've done a better job than me at flipping the expectations and just going straight into McKenna mode. You've been in McKenna mode since week 1 of the season, since they lost their first game to whoever they played. You're like, yeah, I'm out. They're frauds. I'm going into McKenna mode.
I'd say it was a month in, but yeah,
you've adjusted to it much more. I'm watching this game with still a little bit of anger, like a touch of anger, where it's just like they still just like the Rangers haven't won at home since November, brother.
Buddy, I'm not saying it's not embarrassing.
I know it's like, listen,
it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
Yes,
it is.
Of course,
an embarrassing level of hockey to play. The Leafs have better players on their roster, no question, than the New York Rangers do. That is a game that the Toronto Maple Leafs should not lose to the New York Rangers. I don't care if it's a back-to-back. They are the worst team in the Eastern Conference. They have traded their best players. They are sitting other players. They have sent a love letter to their fans to make sure that they don't hate them to reset. And you get outscored 6-1 after the first 13 seconds of that hockey game. 6-1. It's embarrassing. Just have a touch of pride. Lose 4-3. Lose 3-2.
I love
6-2 to the Rangers.
I love that loss. I want them to lay down in the street and die. Because here's the thing. This is a 2-parter. When it comes to the embarrassment factor, of course it's a little embarrassing. Of course I have these moments where, like, man, I texted you twice, and there's 2 moments in this game where you're looking at Austin Matthews going, hey man, you're still the captain. Like, could you give a little effort here? Could you Could you try to set the example? I can't wait for Berube to tell us in the post game how spectacular Matthews was.
Just said another. Yeah, he was amazing. He led them all the way to getting outshot by 50 last night. What a leader.
Like, hey, it's 10 games without a goal for this guy. He's tracking for his worst season of his career when he's been healthy, but I'm just so proud of the way that he's mumbling through these interviews and dogging it on the ice against the New York Rangers, getting outplayed by Mika Zibanejad, who looked like Wayne Gretzky compared to him tonight. Like, I'm so proud. So there's certainly elements, and like we can get into that a little bit more if you want, but I love making the joke. It's starting to get real dated, but he can't pull over any further, like the Super Troopers joke of just like, if you're a Leaf fan, I'm already so embarrassed. I can't pull over any further. What do you care? Yeah. You got no cups in 67. This window has firmly shut. The team is completely fraudulent. They're poorly run. They got one of the worst coaches in the league, maybe the worst coach in the league. Like he's completely checked. Like the players have totally tuned him out, checked him out, whatever. His system was something that didn't work with this roster. They've got a bunch of players like, thanks to Matthias Michelli for turning it on as the games start to turn into shinny games. Like he's a great shinny player. Boy, if you brought him to a rec league, he would be unbelievable. Like he turns it up when the points matter for him. Like I'm at the end of my rope. Like I just don't have anything else to really give when it comes to this. Like the writing's on the wall. They should, the thing that I'm most encouraged about in terms of seeing results like tonight and seeing results like we've seen since they've came back from the Olympic break is I had Feud on today, right? We had a great hour. I highly recommend this hour for any Leaf fan because we talked about the organizational direction and what amateur scouts do during this time of the year. But, he's close with Tree. And he mentioned to me offhand how that 3-game winning streak to them, they were like, you know what? Maybe there's a little bit of something there. Like maybe we will try to get hot before this. Like that was a real thing that was happening. These guys have kind of carried belief, this front office anyways, that this could kind of turn around. And you and I are going to talk about the Waugh trade, obviously, because that's probably the most pressing thing that we can get into on the show. But I want to see as many pieces stripped off of this thing as possible. Like the more they look like this, the more apathetic they are, the harder it makes the case of returning anybody because you need a complete overhaul. You got to strip this thing down, rip out as many pieces as possible and remove, like, I would say just about everything other than maybe like 4 guys. And I don't even think, like, to me, I'm removed from the idea that you're not exploring a Matthews trade in the offseason or going to him. And if he wants out, you're like, yeah, no problem. Like, we're going to facilitate this. I don't know what the future is for Nylander. Like right now, to me, there's like Cowan and Nyes are probably, and Elliott's tweeting about how teams are checking in on Nyes. And even when I read that, I wasn't like, God, there's no scenario where I would ever lose that guy. Like everybody's up for sale to me. Like get rid of anybody you can.
No, I think all that's fair. It just, it started with me just saying that, like, I would just like them to not look so comfortable in these.
But that's the point. That's the point. But the point is,
I know what the point
so comfortable that they've shown their true colors. Like they've shown who they are. Yeah. They're a group that if they face adversity, top to bottom, they are going to lay down to a New York Rangers team that, like, how many games has it been since they won at home? Look at the lines that the Rangers are throwing out there tonight. Like that's half of an AHL team out there.
I've never heard of half the guys in their roster.
Correct. And so you're watching this game. They're just not up for it. And so if you've got what could be a couple of difficult seasons, I want as many of the guys that have checked out away from whatever young players the Leafs are going to bring up here and take a look at here, because I don't want this culture to fester.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I mean, if you're doing that, then I guess you're just doing the full rebuild.
I've been saying full rebuild for
but like
months.
That's not, I know you haven't. And I know, like, there's been lots of people that have been saying it. You know, we got Kipper to say blow it up on the show. Bukla came on our show last week and was like, you got to just start it over. Like, there's tons of people saying that. But I guess this trade deadline is a little bit of an indication. Like Elliott sent out that tweet with a picture of Matthew Nyes on the thing, and it like literally crashed the Sportsnet website. They were so excited about. Like, it was just such a rush of people when they saw that tweet.
Yeah, they
like,
wanted to know what was going on.
Oh my God, Nyes! It's like, if you're talking about Nyes, you're talking about Matthews and Nylander.
Of course,
like Nyes is as much a part of the core as those two guys are. So maybe that's what the direction, maybe we should be reading the tea leaves here, that with all the talking around this team, with all the conversations about who's being available and how they're opening up their scope of who's available and all that stuff. Maybe that's what we should be reading into it, but we don't know because they haven't really talked about that yet.
Of course.
And Treliving will probably address it tomorrow. He's coming on Real Kipper and Born tomorrow at 6:00. So maybe they'll be able to try to pry something a little bit more out of them in terms of their plan for the future or whatever. But yeah, I am definitely getting closer to your side of it, where it's just like, just rip off the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Rip off the Band-Aid. If these guys are just going to look like this in these games where they're just getting filled in, and listen, I don't watch, like, the Panthers are losing now and they're probably playing some listless games, but they've got the cup pedigree. There's teams that, are going to be out of it and they're not going to be fighting every night, but just the way these guys have looked in actual big games shows me enough that when they play in these games, they look like this. It's just, maybe you just blow it up, man.
So
maybe just trade everybody here. I don't know.
To me, like, and this goes in terms of real life as well. And like, listen, man, I get there's a human element that these guys are watching all the reports. They've got guys sitting up in the media box. Like, there's all kinds of conversations about everyone's future, right? Like, it's been a tumultuous time for a lot of different players. Okay. So I get it. I understand human dynamics. But to me, and I think that you're kind of a similar guy, the way that you really do evaluate people is, what do they show you when times are tough? Because anybody can be a front runner. Like, anybody can look good when things are going great. Everybody's happy when a team is clicking and you're flying up the standings and you're winning a bunch of games and you play your best hockey. Like, that's not up for debate. What do you look like when you get punched in the mouth? What does it look like when you're facing adversity, when you do have to get up different for a game, where you have to put your big boy boots on and say, you know what, I'm making $13.25 million a year and I'm proud to be a captain of an original six franchise. I want to go out there and at least play hard. And I don't want my effort level questioned. Hey, you know what? Everybody said I had a bad season, but I've been with the Toronto Maple Leafs for 12 years, and I was a first round pick, and people have said that my game is over and done with and that nobody wants to believe that I'm still a premier offensive defenseman in the game. Maybe I'm not just going to fire grenades into guys' feet and get stuck puck watching again in front of my own net. Like, this applies to so many guys on this roster where you could still prove something.
Just show some fight, man.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. And so the way that they lose, to your point, to me is like, you know what? The things that we were saying about you guys when we questioned you in those big games, like you mentioned, whether you got it or not, whether you can face adversity, it's bearing out to be true. Because as we look at them facing what is ultimately their first difficult regular season, and I'm talking about the core guys here. Like, I don't care what Dakota Joshua looks like, right? The core guys here, for this to be the way that you're kind of going out with a whimper, it tells me that everybody that was critical, everybody that was questioning it, everybody that was saying, I'm not really sure, they were probably right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said, bud. I don't have a whole lot to add to that. And it's incredibly hard to watch.
Yeah.
10 games that a goal for Matthews.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
10. Like, find me the other guys that are top 10 players in the league that go through those stretches who are the top goal scorers in the league.
No, like, doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen.
Did you want to talk about the Nick Waugh thing?
Well, do you want to just, I got some Cowan thoughts before, like, so we close out on this game and then get into Waugh and then get out of here. Right.
I think Cowan looks great against the AHL competition.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'll be a little bit more positive about it. I like that he's playing with some confidence, and it's not the greatest competition in the world, but he's getting a little bit more ice time, getting a responsibility. Like, I thought that he just played really hard tonight. And that's one of the things that you really like about Easton Cowan, because throughout his hockey career, his junior career, and like, I would say his pretty early tenure with the Maple Leafs, he tries. Like, he's given it an honest effort. And I will say this, like, man, the goal he scores tonight is kind of like hey, when we look at the stats at the end of the season, it's still going to count there, but everybody that's going to remember this goal is going to say, hey, all right, like, good quick release, but ultimately a bad one from Shesterkin. But there were other moments, like the Leafs kept the Rangers on the ice for about 3 minutes in a row at one point in the second period because Cowan was buzzing and he was running the top. And I'll tell you this, it's pretty easy to tell as someone who watched a lot of years of Mitch Marner to figure out who his best player was and who he tried to emulate a lot of his game after.
Yeah, there's definitely some flashes of it.
Yeah.
It's just that, head up, quick decisions, responsible defensively, plays hard, plays up top. Like I am encouraged by him. Yep. What I've seen this year, I think it's been a really positive rookie year. I mean, I know the everybody's killing Berube for the way he's deployed him and he sat him. And I understand that. Like, I didn't love him getting sat in a lot of these games, but at the same time, he's hitting the rookie wall. He's the coach. He gets to make that decision. Whatever. I'm not going to die on that hill. But I think ultimately, result of the season aside, personally for him, I think it's been a really good rookie year, and he looked better this year a lot better this year than I thought he was going to. That's what I'll say. Like when they said that he was going to start with the team, I was extremely skeptical of it. And then I thought that they should send him down to the Marlies at certain points, but they've kind of kept him around and he's kind of rose to the occasion when he's given more ice time and when he's deserved it, he's looked good. So he seems like he's a real guy that can grow and be a Leaf for a long time and that he has a good work ethic and he seems to care about being a Leaf. I really do like the kid. I do.
Same. I thought that he was awesome tonight. He deserved every minute of those 16 on the ice. And to me, like, this is just the template moving forward. Like, hey, go out there, play your game.
Yeah.
And we're going to give you some more ice time. I hope to see that this is kind of where he sits around throughout the rest of the year. Not like from an entitlement standpoint, but like if he's going like tonight, good. You get 16 minutes of ice time.
Between 14 and 17, depending on how good you look.
Yeah. My only other thing, and listen, I'm not going to bury the guy too much because who was good tonight, but Quillen, like, did you notice him?
Yeah, I don't know. What did he play?
10 minutes?
Yeah. I mean, listen, the AHL and NHL are two different places, bud.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get an extended look now of him. Like, he's going to play more though that was out. But yeah, in terms of like I wanted to come in here. I was like, you know what? I'm going to focus on him tonight to make sure that I've got some thoughts on Quillen because God, we're not going to have really much else. And
one shot, one hit.
Yeah.
953-1.
Yeah.
I saw him on the forecheck a couple of times. He's not, listen, man, you watch these Marlies highlights and I see our boy Nick Richard tweeting about Luke Hames and all these guys. I'm like, they play in the AHL for a reason. Boys. Like,
well, and their AHL rosters.
It's like it's different league up here.
Yeah,
it's a little faster in the old show. And listen, maybe he'll play more when Berube's not. I don't know. Like maybe he's the next Alex Steves or whoever that gets, or the Connor Dewar that goes somewhere else and gets a better. Maybe that's the case. Haven't seen it so far. Maybe you'll get some more opportunity when more guys get traded. So
gonna need to earn a little bit more ice time, and there's going to be opportunities for him. I just thought like this game against the Rangers was a nice little soft spot for him to come in and work his bag off and kind of show out against an inferior opponent. And through two periods when the game was tight out, that's the ones that really mattered to me. I was like, didn't really see out there. Anyway,
he gets thing for me. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Why are you pulling the goalie when you're down 5-2?
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. MJ doing the they're not going to lay down. I was like, they laid down.
Listen, I don't know if you've watched the rest of the game, bud.
Yeah. They laid down.
They laid down.
Yeah.
I just, it's a lost season. You're down 5-2 with 4 minutes left in the hockey game. Don't pull the goalie.
Yeah.
I don't even know what my reasoning for that is.
It just feels
stupid.
Off. I'm with you.
So stupid. What are you doing?
I felt the same thing. Like when they pulled him, I was like, oh, really? Like, okay.
Yeah. Just don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And then you you put the top guys out there for even more. It's just roll 4 and lose.
Just give the ice time.
You're gonna lose.
Yeah.
You suck. It's an L.
Yeah.
Accept it.
100%. So yeah, Quillen gets more ice now moving forward because Roy is gone. The Leafs get a first round pick, which, you and I were speculating on here. I was saying that I think the Leafs got to try and get one because of the term. Mm-hmm. We settled in like, probably a second. Some people hammered us in the chat being like, you're never getting a second round pick for him. Well, it turns out you're wrong.
Kipper laughed me off the air when I told him that he maybe get a first. And he was like, he told me, I forget what he said, but something about a fourth. Like there's been some consternation about what his worth is. Yeah.
Listen, man, I here's the deal. He's 6'3". He's got some pedigree. He's under contract. He shoots right. Like this is what happens at the deadline. Guys with a little bit of term, with that pedigree and that skill set, go for more than you expect. And once you started to see, again, the Chicago trade with the Edmonton Oilers, and I know Mangiapane was in that deal, and so they were moving off of a salary as well. It became very clear that that was going to be somewhere in the price point to move Nick Roy.
Yeah.
And I'll say, like, I really still did expect that they were going to get maybe the 2 seconds trade or a second and a third kind of trade.
Yeah.
But they grab a fourth or a first and a late round fifth. And that first round pick's not going to be very good, right? Like, it's next year. It's Colorado's not going to be taking a big step back. And then it's top 10 protected. So even if they had some kind of disastrous season, it rolls over to being unprotected the following season. But again, the Colorado Avalanche aren't going anywhere for the foreseeable future.
No.
But even if that pick ends up as, the 30th pick in the draft, that's a huge win for this team. Like, that's a real asset. And now you've got that flexibility where it's like, hey, are you going to draft this kid next year? Like, if you end up going into a full rebuild, maybe you are drafting him. And if things perk up and you hit on a few things in the offseason and I'm dead wrong and Austin Matthews gets in a time machine and William Nylander reinvigorates himself to buy into this team, John Tavares gets a year younger, he's Benjamin Button, like, they make the right Morgan Riley trade, Chris Tanev stays healthy for a full year, Joseph Woll returns to his play, like none
of those things seem that hard.
Well, at least then maybe like you have an asset. And to me, like, this is what's going to make there's a lot of pressure on Tree Living in the next 24 hours, right? Not even 24 hours. What am I talking about here? It's like 3:00 tomorrow. So, there's a lot of pressure. Fans are very hungry for more assets to get in the cupboard.
Yeah.
And we're going to evaluate this deadline based on the entirety of the thing. But I just thought, like, hey, you know what? That's a nice start. That's at least something Leaf fans can point to and go, you know what? That's a little bit more than we expected.
Yep. I was just checking to see if anything had happened while we were talking there. It is a ton of pressure, man. And I would be lying if I told you I was really encouraged that we're going into 10, 11 p.m. Eastern the night before the trade deadline and only one of the guys is gone.
Completely agree.
I
think the over-under for me is 4.5 minimum.
It really feels like that's not going to happen. And it's a mistake. I mean, I could be wrong here, but it just, the fact that we've gotten this far, maybe he's waiting. And like, he's trying to catch somebody doing what he did last year, waiting for somebody to pivot off of Kadri and go to Lawton, or waiting for somebody to pivot off one of the other defensemen and go to OEL or whatever. But it just feels like we're playing a dangerous game right now. But I do like the return for Waugh. I think that's a good fit for Colorado, honestly, like playing third line minutes with some good players, good coach, good system. I think he's a guy that not maybe used the right way here, playing with not some great line mates. Like,
he's a good player, man.
Like, he's got some potential to be a good play, a good fit there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's a trade you got to take 10 times out of 10. So, and the asking price, like Saravelli tweeted out yesterday that the asking price for Waugh was a first and a prospect. So, because they didn't want to retain, like, the retention thing. So maybe they met in the middle and they said, hey, we'll give you the first and a fifth, but you don't have to retain. And they took it. So I'll give credit to Tree on that one. Good start, but boy, you got a lot of work to do to dig yourself out of this, because you've dug yourself a huge hole.
Totally. So for me, like, I tweeted about this before the game. The worst case scenario of things that could happen are the Leafs can't find a buyer for OEL, but that they re-sign Bobby McMahon. And I was encouraged because Chris Johnson was talking about during the break that the conversations between McMahon and the Leafs have at least stalled to the point where they're not talking to one another. And I go, okay, good. Because to me, he's an or best offer guy. Like, I don't care if it's 1 second-round pick for Bobby McMahon.
He is the most quintessential guy you trade.
Yes. Like,
age 30, career year, UFA winger who's streaky and may never be this good again. Like, there has never been a more stock trade guy than Bobby McMahon.
No, even
like,
again,
take a second. Who cares? Anything.
Yeah. To me, like, I get that you have to do your due diligence as a general manager to have a conversation of like what the contract would look like on an extension. But the second he was like anything over 4 with term, you're like, hey man, like, thanks for playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, we appreciated your time.
Yeah. So the fact that it was drawn out this long was kind of spooking me. I've said I really hope it was a smokescreen to try to convince teams to part with a bigger asset for him, like that they would be convinced Toronto wanted to keep him, but ultimately he's got to go. Like, there's just no doubt about it. I would way rather keep Scott Lawton and re-sign him than re-sign Bobby McMahon. Like, that's a no-brainer to me, especially now that they've traded Nick Waugh. Like, no-brainer.
That was the question I was actually going to ask you. Did them trading Nick Waugh make you want to sign Scott Lawton more?
No, because what I would really be hoping for Scott Lawton would be, if he's really open to returning, why not trade him and then let him come back to you in free agency? Like, hey, give us a call.
The Jimmy Garcia move.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like like there's tons of different guys that have done this, but that's the thing that you got to be doing is trade and then re-sign. Yeah. You don't have the luxury of keeping these guys. You got to get as many assets back as possible. The thing I'm nervous about is OEL having a kid in the next couple of weeks, having his no move clause, Toronto exploring the options and missing the window on him. Like, I feel like that is the major hinge point. Like, listen, you get a 7th round pick for Calle Yarncroke or just get off of him. Great. You know, like there's some pieces here that you just need to kind of dump. If you ended up getting off of Michelli, amazing, right? Like, but ultimately to me, this deadline now comes down to how many guys you can get off of. I'm counting the 2 in McMahon and Lawton as of this moment. But the big one in terms of feeling like, wow, successful deadline for the Maple Leafs. Can you trade one of your defensemen with term? And OEL seems to be the target because he's the scratch guy. And he's the one that seems to have more value right now than Brandon Carlo. So, and I think that there's at least a case for Carlo where he comes back as a reclamation project, doesn't play with Riley, has a better year. If they're no good, they can trade him for something next deadline. OEL feels like it's got to happen now, or else whatever they're looking at as a return for him moving forward isn't even going to be a fraction of what it could be right now.
I'm not sure if Buffalo was a real suitor for OEL, but it looks like they're trading for Logan Stanley and Shen from the Jets. So they pivoted to taller, worse Parayko after losing out on Parayko and Luke Shen. So maybe that, I don't know if that was a suitor, but you know, there's been the Boston rumblings. Hey, Tree, maybe just don't pick up the phone with Boston. Yeah. Like, they just avoid that one. Detroit. I actually don't love OEL going to the division because I love OEL. And I playing him against, I know you don't, but like, I do like OEL a lot. You got to maximize the return regardless of what it is. I understand that. But yeah. So anyways.
Yeah. I'm hoping for 4 guys to get moved in total. Okay. And I think that if you can hit 4, that's at least something. More than 4 to me is great. Like, every number, every guy that you can get off, there's literally not a single person. No, if it's 2-3, I don't think that this is a successful deadline. If you came out of this with Colorado's 2027 late first round pick and a couple of other, you know, middling picks, and you're trying to project out in the future, I don't think that you've done well enough in terms of putting your best foot forward and looking at the next phase of Toronto Maple Leafs hockey, because I think we're getting closer and closer to that. Anyways, we'll be watching it. We're on tomorrow. I've got a bunch of guests in studio. It's gonna be Colby in with me, Versteeg's in with me, Myrtle's there. Like, it's I got a full show. I'm gonna be 3 hours tomorrow, so I'll be 9 to noon. Yeah,
they made the guy by himself do 3 hours.
Well, no, but the annoying part is I don't mind doing the 3 hours. The annoying part is that, like, I'm going to do 3 hours of speculation talk. Yeah. And the second I get off the air, they're going to be like, and now for the moves.
It's so true. You just get to do, it just, your podcast.
I'm free agent fluffer.
The podcast immediately dated.
Yeah, totally. Immediately. 100%. So well, I'm going to do some more big picture stuff. So the pod is like ultimately still relevant. Again, I've got some pretty big questions, and I get the Myrtle stuff in particular. I'm going to go into more deep divey. I'll probably have a little bit more fun with like the other regulars who are not insiders, but either way, big show tomorrow, big shows this week. We probably won't do an emergency pod unless something goes crazy because we have a show Saturday night.
Yeah.
So stay tuned to the feed. Like, again, subscribe to the podcast, because if we do an emergency pod, that's where it's going to be. But yeah, we'll see on that one. The Leafs would have to do something pretty heavy for Sammy and I to jump on.
Nice.
Yeah. Like, if that happens, we're in there. So
I'll bring my computer just in case.
Yeah. Major moves. We'll be doing an emergency pod. So reach out anytime. Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Sammy McKee. Subscribe to this podcast. Leave 5 stars. Leave a thumbs up on YouTube. We will see you Saturday
against
night.
The Lightning.
Yeah. Saturday night, post deadline show / Lightning loss. See you then.
Bye-bye.